You know, in anime, there are usually two types of villains. You have the broken villain, and the villain who usually is just pure evil. Usually, I tend to favor the pure evil villain more, because sometimes you just don't need a reason to be evil. But when it comes to Hal, I feel different, because not only do I like him because he's generally a strong character, but I feel as though he portrayed the villain role well, or more of the broken villain role. So in this video, I don't only want to talk about how strong is Hal, but who is Hal exactly, and what is his story. Let's start with the beginning. And if you've seen even one episode of Shaman King, you know that Hal is shown in the first episode as a baby, being part of a twin set with the main character Yo, but shown later that he actually had life before this, making him a reincarnate or having previous lives for other words. In his first life, obviously fashion, it wasn't a good one given the fact that his mother died because of a fire, so he basically turned out to be homeless. And people feared him, thinking he was behind it, calling him an Oni and things as such. Add on the fact that he had abilities to read people's minds that couldn't be turned off, mind you. You can see that his mind might have not been in the best place or the right place at the moment. Despite all this though, he was able to make one friend, eventually becoming friends with a spirit-like yokai named Ohachiyo. However though, since Hal started to feel like life would have been better if humanity wasn't a part of it, the Asakura family decided he needed to be put down. Therefore, they executed him, bringing his first life to an end. Now, some point along the way, he used a ritual to form a contract to control his soul and reincarnate 500 years later. And in this second life, he became a member of the Patch tribe. While he was a member, he did often experience bullying, but he did make somewhat of a friend and Thorin. They did choose Hal to become the representative of the Patch tribe though to participate in the Shaman Fight to become Shaman King. Little did anyone know though, some point along the time, Hal stole a spirit, that being the spirit of fire and secret, which is one of the greatest spirits in the whole universe. Even though Hal didn't win the Shaman King tournament, he still wanted to go ahead and do some crazy things outside and inside the tournament, like destroying the 4 Shin'en warriors and their tribe, letting people know if you don't accept his offers, you basically don't have no will to live. Pretty much understandable by my point of view. But he was eventually put down by Asakura, Yokin, and Masumi. By the way, Masumi is someone that he met in a previous life, so it was actually kind of like friends, with more Hal being his master, but still a friend nonetheless. And with that, we're up to his third life, where you see in episode 1 he's born as a set of twins, with his twin being Yo. Funny thing I found about this though is, in Hal's third life, he actually reaches the peak of his power, especially during the time he was starting with the Great Spirit, and nobody could essentially stop him. And if you remember what I said earlier, the Great Spirit of Fire is one of the strongest spirits in the whole verse. And given the fact that Hal got the most mana, or spiritual energy at everybody in the verse, it was kind of a problem. Plus, Hal was able to alter the Great Spirit elements, making it become something else at times. Also, its attacks could reach up to 1,200 degrees, so it's not exactly fun if you were to get hit by it. Now, he did have this spirit throughout most of the whole story, but he did end up replacing it with something else, and we'll talk about that later. Because I mainly want to just talk about how Hal was throughout the story, because he doesn't have many battles, given the fact that when someone runs into him, they basically receive back shots that making them end up on the side of the pavement. But let's talk about how he's portrayed throughout the whole story. And to me, that's mostly just a chill guy. Well, unless you get into a fight with somebody, then he's ruthless and merciless. But besides that, he's mostly just chill. Now I know this mostly contradicts him wanting to destroy all humanity, but if you remember his first and second life, he did have people that he cared about. Even in his third life, that was no different. Like how he cared for Yo, the main character, because Yo was his twin, and he wanted to see Yo get stronger throughout the whole show. Now he did have ulterior motives for this reasoning, but he didn't just want to outright kill Yo. Plus, since Hal could read minds, he knew Yo didn't hold no hate in his heart towards him either, or at least he knew he didn't want to fight. Plus, in the story, Hal actually had his own team, called the Followers of Hal, which he cared for all of them deeply, but he cared for 2 of the members more than the others, and that would be Opacho and Lucris. Now you may be thinking, why did he show favoritism to these 2? But he didn't really show favoritism towards them, because Hal's feelings never wavered towards his group. He cared for all of them deeply, but his group feelings wavered towards him, all except Opacho and Ludacris. Remind you, the group wasn't that big either, but it wasn't too small. The group was about 14 members deep. Even in his third life, he was still living with problems, at least through by the end of the story, where Hal actually did get a happy ending, only though after becoming the Shaman King and attaining unimaginable power. Because after getting the Great Spirit, There was literally no way anybody stood a chance of beating him, but at the end of the story, he was convinced to stop destroying humanity and was able to see all his closest loved ones again, like his mother and his first life, and Ohoche, and then went how overlooking the world as the strongest being. Don't misunderstand though, Hal still very much wanted to destroy the world, but he decided to hold off and wait and see how things would turn out. Now to end this video, or before I end this video, I want to talk about what made Hal so strong. And that would be the Great Spirit, the spirit that he used to replace the spirit of fire as soon as he won the tournament. Honestly though, you don't have to guess how strong the Spirit King is, or Great Spirit, because they tell you exactly how strong the Great Spirit is. The Great Spirit is a wellspring of all souls on earth that are destined to return to the Great Spirit. And because of this reason, he possesses not only all wisdom, but all powers of all the souls that were ever born on the earth, therefore making him omniscient and omnipotent at the same time. If you don't know what these words mean, basically it means the Great Spirit knows and can do anything. And since Hal is the owner of the Great Spirit, he is omniscient and omnipotent as well, doing things like ripping everyone's soul out on Earth and creating black holes, or reviving people. So in conclusion, this is not a character to be undermined. But besides that, go watch Shaman King. It's pretty great.